pretty much all of us are really, really struggling right now. It seems like we owe everybody for everything, and that's now how God intended us to be here on this earth. This earth was created for humans as a gift to us, to a place that we could, to be a place that we could enjoy. And originally it was a paradise, and then we were put into debt slavery. And you may not even know that you're under debt slavery system, under a debt slavery system. Let me explain to you how this works. When you're given a loan, say a mortgage or a loan from a big bank for credit cards because you're having a hard time making ends meet, it used to be that the banks had to have money in the bank to loan to you. Well, what are you saying? You're saying, well, of course they got to have money in the bank to loan to you. No, they don't. And that's not how it works anymore. It used to be that we had something called the fractional reserve system, where the banks had to have something like 10% on reserves to loan to you. Now it's a zero reserve system to loan to us. So you're saying, well, where does the money come from if they're giving the money to us to buy a house or to so we can buy things on credit cards to eat or put gas in our car? Well, here's what happens, is they have a deal with the government where the government prints them money. That's right. And then they give it to us. And then they still attempt to collect this back from us. And we willingly pay back monthly payments, but we're paying back nothing. They were at zero risk when they loaned us this money. So we're under a scam, a gigantic scam that's been going on for a long time. Now this gets even worse. Let me show you the flip side of this. When you default on one of these loans, and remember, they didn't loan you the money to begin with. They just went from one hand to the other to you, and they owe nothing to anybody. They're just collecting from you as a slave. They're collecting from you. When you default on these, I think it's 180 days, they're required by law to charge it off. And what does that mean? Charge off means that they're no longer going to try to collect debt from you. They're going to take a tax incentive. Well, it's really a tax incentive, but basically they get a big tax break. So they didn't loan you any money to begin with. And now money is going to be given to them again from the government in terms of a tax break. Okay, and they've got tax breaks all day long so the government is giving them back money. So, but you say, well, tax collectors are always coming after me. Yeah, that's true. And here's what happened there. These credit agencies come along, unaffiliated with the banks other than they have a sweet deal with them. They come along to the bank and say, listen, you didn't get all your money back through the tax refund for the tax credit you were getting for that. But we'll give you anywhere from 2% to 11%, and that puts some money in your pocket. Okay, so let's say they pay 11% to a big bank, and then they start calling you and sending you letters and legalized harassment to collect the money back from you. Okay, well, let's say you have $10,000 debt, and you give them $10,000 back over a series of payments. Guess what? That $10,000 doesn't go back to the original lender, to that big bank. It stays with them. They've been allowed to send you letters and phone calls and legally harass you for your money for something they're not bearing any risk for other than 11%. So if they bought your debt of $10,000, they might have paid $200 for it if it was 2%. $200 in order to try to collect $10,000 for you. This is legalized harassment. And it doesn't go back to pay back original debt at all, which wasn't really a risk for anybody to begin with. Nobody loaned you money to begin with except the government printing money. So I'm telling you this today because I want you to realize that we are in a debt slavery system. And you might look back at an example in history like the Hebrews that were under a 400-year slavery system with Egypt. And originally, it wasn't like that. But the government just kept taking more and more from them. It just little by little, incrementalism, until they became complete slaves, and they had all the gold of the Hebrews and everything else until God came along and liberated them. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. Now, the Bible tells us to test the prophets. Do not despise them, but test them when they come along. And we're having a lot of people right now come out and talk as if they are prophets, and some of them are, and some of them are not. You've got to test them. But what they're telling us is this is God's season right now. He said, you'll know the seasons, right? So right now, I think it was 11 years ago or so, Kim Clement, just a beautiful human being, told us that we would have a strange July, he said. We'd have much in the temperatures in the summer, that many would fall in fall. Okay? So I think those are all the people that have put us in this slavery system. They're going to fall. All those people that have lied and deceived us and put us into slavery, and a lot of them, I don't want to get sidetracked, are also involved in child slavery trafficking. So, in the final couple things that Kim Clement said was that, speaking presumably for God, was that in November it will be hypnotic. Hypnotic November is what he said. And then we'll have a Christmas season that lasts all year. Just that special feeling you have at Christmas time that everything is good and calm and we're just taking a holiday away from all the cares of the world. Well, that's what it's going to feel like for an entire year as God just really blesses us. So, some of you don't know who Christ is, and I don't blame you because, listen, we have a lot of religions that are using the name of Christianity, that are using Christ as an icon, that are just not reflecting the love of Christ and who he was. He is God come in the flesh. He loves us. He came and he empathized with us. He lived here in our time. In the timelines of God lives outside of time. So he came and he lived in our timeline of history, and to show us how to love each other and that he cares about us. But guess what? It was the religious people that had him crucified, that had him tortured and murdered. The religious people in costumes. He warned us about the religious people. They called them Pharisees then. He warned us about the writers. Who are the writers? The writers are people that write things down. They translate. So chances are, maybe chances are, or maybe chances are not for you, depending on who's listening. But you may be just bitter towards religion. And I'm telling you to look past religion and look right towards Christ. His real name is Yeshua. There's no such name as Jesus. This didn't exist. People were calling him Yeshua. Yeshua the Christ. Christ meaning Messiah, somebody that was promised to come along and be our champion. Okay? So you can open up the Bible and read Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. You can watch The Chosen, which depicts it depicts accurately what Jesus came and said and did, and it takes a little liberty behind the scenes what was going on with the apostles. The people were tax collectors and murderers and assassins and fishermen. it takes a kind of a look at and imagines what their life was and how it was interrupted by this man, Christ, coming along, and just that they'd want to follow him. There was something so hypnotic and calming about his leadership that they wanted to give up whatever they were doing and follow him right that moment. And I hope you'll look into him if you don't already know Christ. And I'm talking to you here today because I want you to be liberated. I want you to be free. A lot of people are just angry. They're waking up to see how we've been put in this debt slavery system, and how the elitists that control us are just living filthy rich, and we're living in a debt slavery system. So I want you to be familiar, and I want you to look to God, look to Christ, who is a representation. He was God on earth. If you know who Christ is and the Prince of Peace, then you know who God is. And you know that he's a righteous God also through this, that we're not going to have to be under this system forever. That, like the Hebrews, it took 400 years. It's taken a long time for us here right now. But God's going to right things. He's going to give you an opportunity to see in black and white what justice looks like. An opportunity to see in black and white what is good and fully expose evil. So that you're basically without excuse at that point. You have no excuse to reject God unless you love murdering people, unless you love falsely accusing people, unless you seize your eyes upon another man's wife and just entertain taking her when he's away at work. If you're that kind of person, then there's no hope for you. And I got news for you. You're going to go in the trash. God tells us there's a second death after we die. That we're basically thrown into the lake of fire, and that's it. You're done forever. And I can tag on to that. A lot of people have been preaching that, you eternally die and you're eternally tortured in hellfire. It doesn't really say that. And there's some idioms that you need to research, and I go into these in some of my other videos. But no, if God's mercy endures forever, then he is not mercilessly torturing people forever. We're just burned up along with the other trash, and that's it. But those that want to pursue God and pursue truth and pursue the love that he is, and know that he's a father that just loves us like little children. And I know some of you have had bad family experiences, but this is your chance to see what it's really supposed to be like. And God will have us back here on earth forever and ever. We're not going to be disembodied spirits floating in heaven, okay? He's gonna pull us up for a brief time, go scorched earth, literally, and create everything new so the ground isn't cursed anymore. All the poisons and everything else that are and the things in the airwaves and that have been hurting our bodies and all the suffering. It says all our tears will be wiped away, because we've chosen the good instead of the evil in this world. So search out Christ in the Bible. Don't take every word in the Bible as in English as a correct translation. It's very easy to look at the original Greek, the original Hebrew online, and you're going to be liberated. So I encourage you to look into some of my other videos. Like I mentioned about hell, I have some videos on how Satan has tricked many in the church to believing we have this gospel is some sort of Orwellian twist, that it's evil to look upon a woman and desire her. That's crazy talk. If you have desires to take another man's wife, that's adultery. But everything else is just been twisted today. So thanks for watching, looking at some of my other videos. If you like it, hit like. I'm not in this to build an audience and make a career out of it, but maybe that's what God wants of it. I don't know. But I trust God every day that he's going to take care of me, and you should too. Thanks for watching.